Hello and thank you for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, police arrest 3 Dowen College students over Sylvester Oromoni's death. Civil society organizations dispute claim of 500 billion naira costs for direct primaries. And later on the show, motorists protest deplorable condition of Cornell Bridge Road linking Kwara to Oyo State. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Emeka Madunagu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Following nationwide outrage that greeted the gruesome deaths of a student of Dowen College, Lagos, Sylvester Oromoni, it appears we are on the path to unravel the mystery. After ordering an investigation into the deaths and the sealing of the school, the Lagos State Police Command has arrested 3 out of the 5 students alleged to have attacked Sylvester, which eventually led to his death. The 3 students are in custody and undergoing questions as police investigation intensify. Today, we are making progress. I saw before yesterday, I saw the names of 5. They said the boy actually mentioned some guys before he died. But I think
3.
5
but 5 were believed to have attacked him, but he actually mentioned 3.
3.
Yes.
So they've apprehended 3. Yes. So we have to
2
go.
are on the run.
So wherever they are, maybe this this is the Yuletide season. They might have gone out of the country, but justice will still take its course. At least with these 3 people, it will give us a clearer picture.
Yes, and the police are saying that the boys in custody are providing information for them that they can use to track down the remaining 2 guys. It is important that we make a strong statement against bullying by the way we handle this matter. There was a video that went viral, shot in one of the secondary schools in Edo State. I don't know if you saw that video. Sometime last year, the guy was being beaten mercilessly by his seniors. He was trying to explain to them. They were just beating him. So, you wonder what's going on. Is this simply that today's young people lack patience, or that they find it difficult to cohabit with other people, especially their juniors? But one thing that has come out of this case is the fact that secondary schools now have cult groups. Because the boy who provided information that completely negated what the principal of the school provided, the guy who released the video, said that those guys were cultists. They wanted him to join their cult group. Because he would not join, then they continue to attack him. We've seen people killed in universities too for turning down.
For secondary school, it was initially difficult for me to understand.
Yes, but we have a big problem of cultism on our hands in Lagos State. Remember, the state government came up with what they call the Lagos Anti-Cultism Law. It was because they realized too that cultism was becoming a big problem. Professional groups, panel beaters, mechanics,
not even the
musicians,
tertiary institutions,
they have cult groups. They have cult groups. You go to different communities, they have everywhere, everywhere. Even in our own Ogun State, Akute, there are cult groups. And they attack one another and kill people. So Lagos has come up with a law that prescribes 21 years jail term for anyone found to be a member of a cult group. The law also says that you will spend 15 years in jail if you are caught forming an unlawful society or cult group. Therefore, compelling anyone to become a member, you will also spend 15 years in jail. Now, When a suspected cultist is found with a firearm, maybe an assault weapon, it is also 15 years. It is 21 years in jail for a suspected cultist that arranges or orders a fellow cultist to avenge or retaliate or injure anyone. Then any student who joins an unlawful group is liable on conviction to a term of 2 years imprisonment. So even if you are a student, you are not insulated. Then whoever aids or protects a cultist is guilty of an offense and is in danger of being sentenced to 15 years in jail. Then finally, it is 21 years in jail if a member sets fire or uses any deadly object in such a manner as to endanger the health or property of any person or group of persons during a raid. One thing that the law also says is that parents will be culpable in the event of in the event of the arrest of their children for cultism. Parents will be culpable. So we are eager to see how this matter is resolved. Already, Femi Falana has called for coroner's inquest. I agree absolutely, because when the head teacher of the school or the principal claimed that the boy was playing a football match and he was injured, and
the magnitude of injury the guy sustained, you can see the video. Belly, how will you be playing football?
His belly was swollen.
He couldn't walk well.
His teeth was already red from blood stains, you know, and clearly his legs were swollen, you know,
and as if it was ingested with a kind of chemical.
Yes, that is what his father. I watched the video in which his father was talking to BBC, and he said that they appear to be something like blisters on his lips, which means that the chemical that they probably forced him to ingest was what injured his lips, caused damage to his lips. So it is a coroner's inquest, an independent one for that matter, that can get us to know the truth about this whole thing, how it all ended.
Emeka, it's so bad now that we've gotten to a stage that even it has always been there. From what I gather, because I can't be part of them, I don't know about them, I'm not interested in the activity, that the process of their initiation we have to do with beating. And throughout the time we went to secondary school, university, we used to hear this thing, that when they want to initiate you, they take you to a restricted area to beat you up. What kind of demonic organization want to recruit you through beating?
No, you see, this issue of bullying has been part of the Nigerian educational system for so long. I went through secondary school in the mid to late 80s, and I went through hell. I really suffered bullying. And so when you talk about this bullying, I understand. You see, these things are there. We're talking of Sylvester Oromoni's case today because of social media. Do you know how many pupils of secondary schools who have been killed over the years that were just quietly
swept under the carpet? Swept
under the carpet because their parents were influential.
And these schools, they don't want these schools to go down.
Yeah, no, yes.
They want to protect the image of the school.
If you look at the schools now, they are like warehouses where you just pack goods. You know, the pupils are like goods. You offload from a trailer, you just keep there, and then after some time, you move them out. Who really cares about the character formation and character development of children that go through schools? What happened to guidance and counseling? It was introduced at the time in the 80s in secondary schools, but suddenly it disappeared. And so children are just left to their own devices. Schools will just employ a housemaster, housemistress to supervise so many pupils. A housemaster that has his own issues to deal with, and maybe doesn't even live in the hostel because they live in staff quarters, and the staff quarters is usually some distance away from the hostel. So students engage in all kinds of things. And you're talking about beating initiation. Of course, you see, why would Lagos State government call such a gathering an unlawful society? You would expect that the processes of membership, processes of initiation and all of that would be things that are deemed unlawful. You see, torture, beating, human degradation. And you do not even students.
Because that's what came to my memory when I saw the boy.
Students that have
couldn't have just been football. How can you play football?
Students that have been, you know, injured. He received life injuries, even down below. Received life injuries, but the parents will not talk because maybe they are poor or okay, please, you know, the Nigerian system.
Corporate image of the organization.
You know, then we bury everything, and then these children are moving about, victim, you know, with these scars of massive, intensive bullying over the years. The bullying I went through made me say that I vowed that none of my children will go through a boarding school. I don't care how nicely the school is run or whatever. I will not. I'll keep my children under my nose, because you see, it's, you know, parents just come on visiting day, but you may not really know that something is really not happening, in sync.
And not be able to convey everything.
And then the school, we know from the gate, they will want to receive you very nicely. If it were possible for parents to sometimes maybe sneak in these guys into some of these schools, look, they will react in, you know, unpredictable ways. So it's good that government is looking into, because this thing is a major problem. It should be dealt with.
The mother said the guy over time tried to explain, but they weren't listening to him. They didn't listen.
That the parents.
Yes, that the last time they dropped him in school, that the look in his face, you could see how, you know, unhappy that he's going back to this place. So there's a kind of disconnect between parents and children of these days. The parents, they don't listen. They don't listen to their children again.
They don't have the time. There are parents who work, who close at work very late, get home like 12 midnight. The children are asleep.
By 5 a.m.
They don't help the children with their homework. They don't do anything. The housemaid is the one that does all the work. And in a city reputed for the rat race existence, like Lagos, by 4 a.m., some parents are already out before the children wake up. So they really don't even have the time for these children. So whatever is going on in the rooms of their children, because you are supposed to, from time to time, tie your children's room.
Yeah.
You could even find some extraneous material that
are not meant to be there.
Give you a hint of
what is happening,
what is going through, or the kind of friends that is keeping. And where a child has too many friends, you've got to be worried, because among those friends, there will be bad boys. You know, there will be bad boys. So it's something that we have to take seriously. People are suggesting now that even the management of the school has to be changed, because clearly they took their eyes off the ball. The school was saying that
the father was saying that they did not reach out to him. That till now, apart from one teacher that the management has not deemed this fit. The only person that called him was the principal that was asking him why did he release the pictures to the social media. He was not asking that principal.
He should be prosecuted.
It shows how irresponsible they are.
Irresponsible.
They want to protect the image of that school.
As a school management, they are very irresponsible. As human beings, they clearly have lost their humanism. Well, if you have not lost your humanism, there are better ways of responding to this kind of tragedy. You try to lie your way through. But the videos showed the boy in terrible distress. And if you say somebody was playing football, maybe he was injured on the leg, then
broken arm.
Is that why his belly was swollen? You know,
blisters.
And then we had blood. The blood had clearly caked in his mouth, to the point that the blood was on his teeth and was already dark red. So it effectively combusts the lie that the school came up with. Now they've come up with another press statement, say, oh, they are going to cooperate with the Lagos State government and all that. You see, my problem with our country is laws are made probably for the poor alone.
For the poor.
You see clear evidence that laws are made for the poor alone in our country. We've not reached that level as a country whereby you know that our laws will be effectively implemented against
No
anybody
matter who is involved.
We see a country like Israel jail former presidents.
Immediately.
Once you are found guilty, even if you are their hero, they've forgotten. But in our country, once somebody is deemed to have done some good things in the past, is seen as a hero, even if there is cast iron evidence against him.
He's been persecuted. His people will come around.
They will
say,
even come out and be giving us ethnic
yes, we look at it from the...
That's the sort of country that we are. And this is the reason many people don't think something tangible will come out of this. It's such a shame that we are in a country where the laws are made specifically for the poor. Look at some of the cases that the EFCC have been losing. You see clearly that those who can hire big lawyers, they keep defeating the EFCC in court.
Because the EFCC don't have access to fund to, get the biggest lawyers.
And they too,
the prosecution,
on many occasions, they don't even do due diligence. The prosecution they usually do wishy-washy prosecution. So all those politically exposed persons, look around, how many of them have we jailed since 2007? How many of them have we successfully jailed? So people are worried that even this matter
might be swept under the carpet. People are even talking about, even in schools, that, I don't understand what it used to be and what it is now. That you have secret cults, that you have organizations that they are not meant to be exposed to right now, and a lot of school management, they are not even aware that they have such organizations, nefarious organizations within their system.
In higher institutions of learning, when you are graduating, it said that you have been found worthy in character and learning. But the unfortunate thing is that secondary schools these days just focus on learning. They are not really meticulous about
building character.
About building character. No, it's not about the expense. It's not about the expense. You see, the more expensive a school is,
the worse it is.
The more cautious you should be about such a school, because anything, it could be a place where
I was
anything
told that
goes.
some of the secondary schools
Anything
that when
goes.
you go to clubs, you meet them on Friday night.
Oh,
you meet them in
what
clubs.
are we talking about? When we are growing, you see, we can't
secondary
say
school.
there are certain things we can't talk about what we saw now when we are growing up. The children they do what they like. Their parents are not even there. They're absentee parents, and then the teachers are not even giving that firm control.
Yes.
When teachers were regarded as gods.
Yes.
Teachers were.
The teachers cannot touch the student now. You can touch the student now.
Teachers more than you feared your parents.
Yes, they're going to bring their parents.
You feared the teachers more than you feared your parents.
You heard the story of an actress that was said to have.
Yes, she went
to school.
So the point is this: we need to ask ourselves in Nigeria,
for the fault of her daughter.
Yes. What about the man who hired two men and bought machetes for them to go and attack a teacher? You see, the Nigerian system is broken in every ramification. Homes are broken. Parents don't have time. It's even the children who are even parenting their parents these days. Because parents cannot. You see, it is children who tell their parents, "Oh, daddy, why are you doing this? Oh, mommy, I shouldn't be like this." Children now run the homes because their parents leave very early, go to work, come back exhausted, and it is just to make this money, just to keep body and soul together. But your home is on fire.
Your future.
After keeping body and soul together, your home is on fire, and one day it will consume everybody and everything. I think people, beyond just what government is doing, people should realize that this rat race takes no rat anywhere. Rats end up getting killed for nothing. They should take care of their homes and bring up their children properly.
A lot of people are calling for justice, that ultimately justice must be seen to be done in this case.
Yes.
That nothing must be swept under the carpet, and before you open this school, certain measures must be put in place before this school is opened again, so that we will not solve one problem and go back to another problem.
Some are even suggesting that the license of the school should be withdrawn.
I support that.
Because they've handled this matter in a very shameful manner. And if the government descends heavily on them, it is justified. You know, we handle this matter badly, starting from the lies that they try to sell to us, you know, and the way they interface with the father. You take a lot of money from people. You have an obligation to protect
Let them
their
get value
children.
for their money.
Protect
Not
their
even in
children.
learning alone.
Those children are in your care.
Character, yes.
When parents go to drop children in your school, the children are in your care. Even when my dad was a teacher at Abdulaziz Atta Memorial College, you know, he was even a housemaster. He still put me in boarding house. See our staff quarters, not far from the school. He still elected to put me in boarding house. He said, so that I can learn self-reliance and all that.
But yeah, that's
the whole idea.
That's the whole idea.
Concept.
Yes.
That was what I did with my first son. My wife piled pressure. I said, no, this boy must go to boarding house. That the way he is, it is the boarding house that will toughen him up and he will begin to do things by himself.
Independently.
By the time he came back after the first term, he had begun to iron clothes by himself, wash his clothes by himself, became more responsible, you know, because the parent is not always there to do those things for him. But right now, things have changed. It's not in every school that we have this kind of problems.
No. But even in some school, what's up, Jide? That is where they are introduced to lesbianism, homosexualism.
No, even during our time. See, during our time too, when I was in school, it was a male school, male-only school. There was homosexuality and they were always expelled. Once they catch you, you are expelled. It's not that you can't have a perfect system. People trying to demonize boarding school and all that now must remember that a good number of our people, if not majority, were products of boarding house.
Schools, the best schools around.
Yes, people like Shagari. Shagari was president. He sent his children to Federal Government College in Ilorin. His children. Because even the unity schools were the best in the country at that time.
The likes of Federal Government College, Ijaniki, Ogbomoso,
these all of them.
Good schools.
All these unity schools.
People like Ambode, the MD of
FGC
Bank, SS Bank, they met at FGC Warri now. People like the Emir of Kano before, Sanusi, Shebi, King's College, and the friends that he made at that time, a good number of them still remain friends with him today.
CMS Grammar School, St. Phoebus College, Methodist.
But the point that is important is let justice be done. It's sin to be done.
Yes.
Already more than 100,000 people have signed that petition.
That thing is
they signed that petition that look, justice must be done. And when people turn against you using the social media, you can't recover.
Right now.
You can't recover. FCMB learned an exemplary lesson when that scandal happened. They didn't waste their time because they were already telling people to withdraw their money from FCMB. The bank moved quickly and replaced the MD. It's not a time to demonstrate pig-headedness.
We've already started changing the name of this thing by Bank and I.
Yes. You can't be pig-headed in such situations. You have to be sensible. Do what is right. They did what is right. And look, since that time,
there's no room to come
nobody has seen that the MD come back. So now that how did NSAS protest begin? It began with this kind of petition, and the thing began to expand and expand and expand. So now that more and more people are saying, look, this matter has to be resolved. Big people, Atiku, artists, all kinds of Nigerians from
the House of Representatives,
the divides. They are saying this matter must be thoroughly investigated. So again, as I said the other day,
Commissioner of Police
Akim Odumosu is on the spot again. He's come to Lagos to work at a very difficult time.
Yeah.
Every day one trouble.
Honestly.
So he knows his work is cut out for him, and he has to be seen.
Taking over the investigation.
Yes.
The RRS guys are in front of that place.
No,
now they've locked
the House of Reps is telling the IG to take over the matter. They've directed the IG to take over the matter. Yes, and their own committee on youth development and women affairs, they've also mandated them to go and investigate the matter and report to it. This matter will not be allowed
to be swept
under the carpet. From the way it's going, although I cannot bet, from the way it's going, there is the people should ask the Attorney General of the Federation what is happening about Wadume, because the police made up his mind to even prosecute his own people involved in it. He was the one who said the police should hand over the file to him. This is the truth.
So where are we now?
So now that they've handed over the matter to him, have you heard that the guy was brought to court?
Swept under the carpet.
You know? So this is it.
Okay, it's your favorite news and current affairs program, Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breather. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It's Journalist Hangout, and I still have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Emeka Madunagi in the house. Now, the fourth and back movement regarding the vexed issue of the direct primaries for political parties provided by the Electoral Act Amendment Bill is getting frenzier. Some civil society organizations, under the urges of the civil society partners on electoral reforms, have disputed the 500 billion naira estimated cost to organize direct primaries for political parties, describing it as a hoax. The group, through its executive director Ayodari Atoye, argued that it would cost the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) far less to organize direct primaries for 18 political parties. They urged President Muhammadu Buhari to ignore the propaganda and sign the bill into law. Today I saw the spokesman of the president today, Femi Adesina, the special advisor on media, today, and trying to justify why the president is that the president will not be rushed to sign that amendment bill. That is the same set of people that were agitating 4 years ago for the president to sign, and the president saw a lot of inconsistencies in that amendment bill, and that is why he ended up not signing. That he is not saying that the president will not sign this one, but what he's saying is that they have enough time. Before that time, the former one, they didn't have enough time to go through the documents and everything, but right now they have enough time to study the document very well, and the president, in the interest of Nigeria, at the end of the day, might just look at it and decide to sign or not to sign. It is his prerogative.
Well, you should have asked Femi Adesina to mention the inconsistencies that the president saw, because that was not the reason that the president gave. These people have come to see us as people with a very short memory. You know, the president said it was too close to the election. That was the excuse that they gave. It was too close to the election, not that there were inconsistencies. That electoral bill, there were public hearings that INEC itself was part of before they came up with it. So it's not a question of, some people just put together a body of...
And all stakeholders.
All stakeholders were involved. Go back and check. INEC attended the public hearings. Civil society organizations were there. It took a long while to come up with that thing that the president dilly-dallied and ultimately refused to sign. In this case, INEC is said to have even replied the president's letter, because he said the president consulted INEC on the matter. INEC is said to have replied the president's matter in positive fashion.
That we can do it.
Yes, which is a way of encouraging the president to go ahead and sign.
Even now, Okoye was talking about corpers being deployed to assist.
Yes.
To help the manpower for INEC for this primary.
Yes, INEC was the first to complain that this would be a big manpower challenge, this and that. But the same INEC came out to say it could use youth corps members for it, you know, which should make conducting the primaries relatively cheaper, much cheaper. Now, and that's what these guys are saying, the CSOs. They are saying that for the 8,809 wards in our country, at 30,000 each for 17,000 628 NYSC members participating in the 5 primaries of 18 political parties, it will cost maximum of 47 billion. How much do we really pay core members for these
ad hoc
yes.
jobs?
And another thing, another point that they are making is parties can merge their primaries.
Yes.
We are a very wasteful country. I'm telling you, with technology, if we deploy technology appropriately, we can do all of these our elections in one day. If we leverage on technology, we can do all of our elections in one day. If India can do it as big as it is, Nigeria is a tiny country. Nigeria is like an atom compared to India in every way. Land mass, population, we are so tiny. India is the largest democracy in the world. Yet if India conducts election today, within 24 hours they will know the winner. How are they able to do it?
Population.
It is 100% India technology that is deployed. We can't be just be traveling abroad and not find a way to leverage on
those positives.
the positive things that we see there. Yet when people talk about Senna climbs, people who believe in cheap political propaganda will not want people to say it. The people who are talking about Senna climbs, they want their country to be just as good. That can't be something bad. To wish that your country will be as good as Norway, for example, that's probably the best country to live in. It can't be such a bad idea. You are aspiring. You are wishing that things were that good. So the people who have come up with propaganda against direct primaries, which in my view remains the most participatory form of picking candidates of parties. They are the ones coming up with the fact that it will cost 500 billion, this and that, and they are pushing that argument. I was even disappointed when the House of Reps called INEC and they were saying that if it is necessary, that they will approve a loan of 500 billion to cover the cost of conducting primaries. You should be more creative than actually thinking of loan as if they take loans well for us. Everything loan, everything. And what people don't realize is that there are implications.
The money, yeah.
There are implications for taking loans. Yeah. You must pay back. There are implications.
Because this is making it
you see a state like Ogun State. They can't fix roads.
No, they can't.
They can't. Because the cost of servicing loans that they inherited is hooking them around here.
All the satellite towns.
You know?
Ogun State.
Davido will say he choke. He's choking them. He choke. He's choking them. They can't fix roads. In fact, one of the commissioners said, whatever you people say, money that is not there cannot be invented.
But that's not creative. Money that's not there cannot be invented.
No, they've tried every means. They've tried everything. Okay, if you as a governor, you inherited more than 100 billion debt, and you must service. Yeah. They won't. Nobody will consult you when servicing.
That
the irrevocable standing order is there.
Immediately you are collecting your
Osun State is also like that. So when you continue to take loans, like a drunken sailor with a bottle of Hennessy in his right hand, staggering on the deck of the ship.
Sometimes I wonder how people like Otola is surviving.
Remember that
because
there are obligations to meet. You must pay. You must pay. That is the thing. You must pay. So you can't be suggesting that you are going to approve
everything loan to conduct election again.
To contest election, you want loan. You are already taking loan to pay salaries.
For primaries,
not
for the main election.
The truth is, okay, in this case now, INEC does not need to print materials.
No.
The parties will print. INEC's job is simply to supervise. To monitor, not even supervise, just monitor. You are there, okay, who has won? You can see the whole process. and then the result. INEC, because printing of ballot materials costs INEC a fortune. Because of all of those security features, security features that they put on them, because of
print it abroad.
These wayward politicians who
because if you leave it for the political party to print it, people will come out with their own.
So now you don't need to print the material. It's still the parties who are organizing, and the parties who print those things. Your own is simply to observe. And if you put core members there to observe, at the end of the day, the result is ready. They give them the results. And it's not every political party in Nigeria that will be ready to even do. They think that all of those parties, those parties, some of them are not present in some areas.
Honestly,
they have no presence of any sort.
Out of over 120,000 polling units in the country, hardly will you find their agents in two-third.
Yes.
These 18 political parties, apart from
projection, INEC will not be able to spend all of this money. I agree with these civil society guys that look, maximum 47 billion.
Okay.
47 billion.
Emeka, what do you make of this?
I find it ridiculous and disingenuous, because we are at a point where we should get more serious about making our country work. We just, we seem to find ways to deepen our fault lines to make things not to work well, because some people stand to benefit from such. How about, okay, let's say for a state like Lagos, what is the farthest point in Lagos from anywhere to anywhere in Lagos? You can actually bring the primaries of a number of local governments to the stadium at Surulere. Bring people there within a few, you arrange them, because this kind of politics we saw now growing up in the days of UPN, NPP and all of that. Were we borrowing money to, were the electoral body, FEDECO of the 80s, whiskey and all that?
That one won't work. If it is a long ward, if they are conducting primaries at ward level.
Word by word.
No, what I'm saying is that
they cannot even travel outside of the ward.
But within a certain area, you can put people. I'm just talking about the stadium. You have youth centers.
The way it can work is maybe in a ward, for example.
You gather people together.
The parties can be localized in one area.
Yes,
okay.
You bring them together.
Come together, maybe the local government office.
Yes, you bring them together.
Which will mean that the INEC staff will not be dispersed across the world.
No.
They'll just allocate time for each
of the
political
That's what I was saying. For instance, in a place like Lagos, all INEC needs to do is actually, like Jide said, monitor and ensure, okay, the results are out. There should be more scientific ways of dealing with our problems than just following the basic path. We can cut down a lot of these things. Lagos has built a lot of youth centers everywhere, recreational centers everywhere. So you can hold these primaries here and there and make sure that within a few hours, everything is done and dusted. So borrowing money is out of the question, should be out of the question, totally out of the question. And then the National Assembly should ask themselves, when will we get to the end point of all this borrowing? Because our currency is not doing well, the Naira is not doing well, the economy is not doing well.
I don't want us to deviate from the subject matter.
You know why I'm asking that question? We are talking of loan for primaries. We will talk of loan for elections.
As if that's the
Maybe we'll talk of loan for inauguration. Come on, we are choking.
It shouldn't even have been suggested.
Honestly,
it shouldn't have been suggested.
We are choking our people.
But they were desperate. Those federal lawmakers were desperate. They know why they want this thing. They know that their political future is on
tied to it.
I know politics is about interest, but
so whatever will make primaries to be
proceed.
direct is what they were ready to do. Use their position to do it. And I say we can approve money for
from the feelers. Do you think Mr. President will sign this thing?
Initially, it looked like he could sign it, but it's all down to some of the people around the president. Because for the people that he listens to, if those people are bent on not having this thing signed, especially because of the direct primaries that is there. It's
So
possible.
they will throw away the baby and the bathwater.
No,
Not that they will remove that clause.
No,
He could,
the way
tell
that's
them-
always
he
been.
could tell them to take it back.
To take it back.
And they include indirect and consensus, so that there will be peace.
But those guys, the way they are now, they are not prepared to have that.
To budge.
Because if they do that, they have committed political suicide.
Of course, all of them.
Those governors would be baying for blood. Already now, the governors are very angry because of what they put them through.
They didn't know that this could go this
Yes.
far.
And the governors got the party to call a meeting. But these guys hurriedly passed the bill before
that
going
meeting.
for that meeting.
So who will the president, on whose side will he stand?
Oh, well,
Because
the
the National
president-
Assembly has been approving all the loan requests.
Yes,
for
he
him.
has received the best cooperation that he could
So,
get.
so
if I was
is he
the
going to betray
president,
them?
you know, at a point when
governors are the pillar.
Jonathan was on the side of Meina, remember what the then Senate President David Mark said. He said, "We have been very, very loyal to you. Whatever you want, we do. We are saying somebody has disrespected us. You are still supporting the person. Well, we may be forced to turn against you." It was at that point that Jonathan withdrew his support for.
So
Abdul-
will history
Abdul
repeats
Meina.
itself?
Now, the president has always received this people's support. In my view, if I were to advise him, I would advise him to allow the bill to go the way it's been drafted. You know, that way it can retain their support and then help them to avoid being rusticated by their governors.
As usual, we'll keep you abreast. This is not the final. And finally, infrastructure decay in our country is getting to an alarming rate. In Kwara State, members of the road transport unions and some motorists protested against the neglect of the Morobeli Bridge along the Kwara-Oyo Benin Express border. During the Save Our Soul protests, they described the collapsing old bridge built during the colonial era as a death trap and appeal to the federal government for its urgent completion. Let's share the story by TVC News Ibrahim Alege with you.
The Moro Bridge along Ilorin-Igbeti Road is one of the major bridges along Kwara-Oyo Benin Republic border. Thousands of motorists ply the bridge daily. The bridge was constructed during the colonial era and renovated in 1981. Today, the bridge is on the verge of collapse. This is why motorists are protesting.
This imposes a lot of hardship on the people and especially the transport workers and farmers who are in the majority here.
Belkis Siddiq passes through the bridge every day. She's frustrated about the state of the bridge. The federal government awarded the construction of the new Moro Bridge in 2017. It was meant to be completed in 2018, but the contractor requested for a review of the contract.
That was supposed to have been completed in 2018 November. So, but since around that time, the contractor requested for review of rates, so which has not been approved by the government. Percentage of the work done is presently is 35%.
Motorists want the bridge to be fixed without further delay.
The boat union hereby appeal to the federal government through the state government to please come to our aid of Nigerians through the reparation of this Moro Bridge and Ohan Bridge.
We appeal to the Honorable Minister to save our souls by directing the contractor to go back to south, to go back to site without further delay. Our people are suffering, our businesses are collapsing. We beg the minister to come to our rescue now.
This indeed is the true definition of death trap. Any little mistake on this bridge, one may find himself under the bridge, and this can actually lead to death. This explains why motorists along this axis are calling on the federal government to expedite action on the alternative route that the federal government is working on. Ibrahim Malige, TVC News, Ilorin.
That's like a civil soul message to the Minister of Works, the federal government, Babatude Raji Fashola, because if you are not a very good driver, if you just miss your step there, you could be fatal. Look at the bridge.
Yes.
I can't even drive. I can't even contemplate
driving in between.
Yes.
You know, so it's dangerous
for the bike people.
Very dangerous.
It can be okay. Look at. You have
at
to
every point
it.
you have holes. You have holes because it's made of wood. You know, the government has to do something. The ugly specter of abandoned projects is what has brought this about. Because if a contract that was awarded in 2017, by now they should have been done and dusted.
Doubled.
You know, it should have been done and dusted if they continued with the work. And if the contractor is asking for variation of the contract, it is normal. Everyone knows the value of our currency in 2017 and compared to what we have today.
Yes.
After all, even Dangote, you know how much he sells a bag of cement now? Selling for 4,600. This same sometime last year we bought cement for 1,800. Dangote now sells his cement for 4,600. So you ask yourself, what is even the benefit of having cement produced in our country? If it can be going up like this, and those who make blocks, these vibration blocks, they are selling 9-inch block for 350 naira, just one.
And we are not sure of the quality.
Yes, it could even be broken when you are
not sure of the quality.
So, if the contractor is asking for the contract to be renegotiated for variation, they've got to do that. I know that the Minister of Works has so much on his plate. You can see that it's all grey. It's understandable. It's understandable.
And funding is a big issue.
Funding is a big challenge.
Funding gap.
And everyone is pulling Fashola in different direction. Kogi governor will pull him over.
Go to Ogun State, that's Ota.
Other people too are pulling him.
Ota route.
And he has limited funds to work with.
Of course. The funds
but because this one is positioned in a critical area along the border with Benin Republic, then that's in Kwara North. Then they've got to do something because it can even boost trade along that corridor. Boost trade. All these traders will be able to sell their stuff outside the country and even make good money. So
I don't know the whole community, and I know that this is something that is not something that you can say we want to contribute to do. This is a very big project.
I don't think the bridge should be shut down because there is nothing holding it up in the middle. I mean, the reporter said it was rehabilitated sometime in the 80s. I wonder what was it that maybe the wooden railings were replaced with metal. I mean, because and look at the floorboards. They are just coming apart. So definitely trucks cannot run through this bridge. So that means they are going through another route. So why not just take people through that, shut this bridge? Let the state government shut down this bridge.
No, and then it's a federal project.
Yeah, but of course, if any.
But Mr. President has said nobody should do road unless.
So even the state government,
they will not pay you.
The state government should ask the federal government to shut this bridge down, and then do something urgently. If they can find any company, any major company operating around here that can even take over the project, for tax in exchange for tax credit, fine. So that since it's on the border with
Can
the
they start
Republic.
collecting toll from this community?
People shouldn't even
look like.
people shouldn't
No, no
even
matter how
be
little they can still
on
toll
this
it.
bridge. People shouldn't even
If a private person can come and do something about
the election for tax credit. There are
He has
different
to
ways.
calculate.
There are different ways apart from tax credit. There are different ways by which you can get the private sector involved in infrastructural development. You know, there are a lot of ways. If government wants to be creative, government has a lot of power. Government can make a lot of things happen.
Even across the country, there's no how we can sustain those highways without having to toll some of it back.
And give without giving some of them to the private sector to manage.
To manage, yes. Yes.
We've got to do that. People go abroad, they pay for these things, and they come to Nigeria to complain that no, you cannot. Where will government find the money? We are even owing contractors. Expensive. We are owing contractors so much money.
Local contractors, foreign contractors. By the time you see the breakdown,
contracts that are abandoned halfway because we were not funding the contractors sufficiently. They are there. We have obligations. Just as Honorable Toby Okechukwu was saying that day.
On Sunday.
Yes. So we have no choice but to get the private sector involved in the management of some of these highways, and they will put way bridges, they will put tolls. Like all those trailers, you know, carrying massive goods. You've got
pressurizing the roads.
You've got to take some money from them. Take some money. These roads are not built to carry dead weight. You see trailers parked permanently on our roads and damaging them in the process.
On the bridges.
So the people of Kwara or your Benin Republic border, that's Morobili Bridge, appealing to the Minister for Works.
Yes. Babatunde Raji Fashola.
Babatunde Raji Fashola, please look into this.
Yes.
If it's something that can palliative, that you can do for the main
while working on
we are working on the main bridge.
Yes, because around this period, the bridge
they can even make this one safer and continue work at the other end.
Yes. I want to thank you for your contribution today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the master himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju, thank you for always being there.
Thanks.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. And don't forget to join us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday, 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. with Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Or on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.